It's the Joel Shit Show featuring Joel Shit. Hi, welcome to the Joel Shit Show. I'm your host, Joel Shit. So, despite working so much, I did keep one fantasy football team this year. And I couldn't even make it to the draft, although it was when I was on location in Las Vegas, visiting family. And so I had a friend of mine draft for me, and, you know, he did fine for me. And one of the nice things is I got McNabb and Jay Cutler. So who knows, maybe I can trade one of those bad boys later. And heading into last night's game, I had McNabb starting. Cutler, man, what a game that was. I should have just put him in. But, you know, McNabb ended up having a good game too. I was winning by like 20-something points, and he had Marion Barber and Patrick Creighton going. So we both had people going last night, and Marion Barber had a great game. But luckily, so did Donovan McNabb. And I was already winning anyway, so it was close, but I still beat him. So I'm 1-1 now. I don't talk about fantasy sports a lot because it's a big undertaking. Like, really, I subscribe to a lot of fantasy sports information services because they're free. And honestly, that's why they're free. Some of them really aren't that good. If I had the time for it, I could probably start up my own fantasy sports business and be pretty good at it, because it's not just looking at the statistics and guessing what you think is going to happen. It's knowing how they got those statistics. I mean, if you might think, oh, this quarterback had a really good game, but it's because it was in the fourth quarter and it was in garbage time. Now, of course, for fantasy sports, it doesn't matter. Stats are stats. But if you're going to expect those kinds of stats out of that quarterback consistently every week, then you're fooling yourself. You know, in the fourth quarter, when you're down by a lot of points, the other team's defense is playing, you know, kind of a prevent. And so it's easier to rack up the stats. So, you know, it's something to think about. A team that gets blown out a lot, that has a good quarterback, generally is a good pick. But if it's a mediocre team that's in a lot of close games, or one that is a successful team, wins a lot of games, but they're going to hand the ball off a lot too. I mean, you always if you look at the top 5 performances in passing yards in any given week, most of them are usually going to be from losing teams. And it's just not something you can predict. You can get 100 of those 300 yards in the fourth quarter, and you don't know whether you're going to get those. It'll only get them if your defense, doesn't do a good job. So, that's just one example of, fantasy sports and how the stats don't tell you everything. You think, oh, Benji Molina, wow, I'm going to draft him in the first round next year. Well, maybe you wouldn't do that, but he might think he's the best fantasy catcher. He's not. It's because he's batting cleanup this year. That's all the time we have for today. Visit us on the web at joelshitshow.com.